I just want to say welcome back to another episode of Lancescurv. I hope the sound is good. We always have to make sure and check out. But anyway, this is a continuation of the show that we did just a little while earlier, but I had an appointment with somebody who was coming by to take some measurements for some work, and he got here really early, and I had to cut it short because he had other people to take care of, so I had to cut it short. So I was supposed to put part 2 across this banner, but I'll use the same banner. But then maybe I'll go back later on and change it. But I'm going to start off from where we left off. I just wanted to explain that to not do the whole first part over again, that I wanted to really pay homage and honor those of our sisters who are really doing the damn thing on all levels. Whether you have a candy shop, a small shop, or you're in a corporate world, or you're running an international business. And this is not about money. This is about being focused. You're much more than a person twerking on a video. You're much more than a hoochie or a hoe or a plaything. And we have to combat this mentality because the attack is on us. What do you see of us in media? They want the lowest of the low to keep us thinking that that's the highest we can go. And that's not true. That's definitely not true. And we have to understand that those attacks come from so many different ways, and it reinforces a narrative in our mind. You know, and this is for both men and women, but we're focusing on the sisters. And so, like I said before, I've been blessed to have several young ladies in my life, and please keep your mind out the gutter. Doesn't mean that. I have Mrs. Scurv, and I have the wonderful few that are about something and focused. Whether they're successful by being a millionaire or not, they're striving and they have their integrity and they maintain their dignity. You know, there are a lot of young ladies out here that see others who are successful on a monetary level, and they feel they have to do anything to achieve that. You see, when you see someone out here in the world who has achieved something, you don't know what they did to get it, right? Because they do have it where you have to play by the rules and there's certain things you have to do to bend. You don't always have to do that. It might be a little tougher, a little more challenging when you don't degrade yourself to get this status and this monetary success. But the beautiful thing is when you don't compromise yourself, it feels so much better when you did it your way. Because when you do it the other way and you bow down to these powers that be that want to see you degraded, and you have to degrade yourself, and that lets them know that what they have is worth more than you holding on to your integrity, you can never go back. The world might idolize you and say you have this status and you have these material items around you and everybody wants to be like you, but you know what you did deep down inside to get it. And so what good is it then in the midnight hour when you have to think about it? So there are people who have achieved. There are people who are doing good. And like I said, it doesn't have to be one way. Some go to college because there's certain things that you have to, know and be certified. So you have to go to school to get it. There's certain things you don't have to do. You can go to a trade school. You can be a creative and come up with something that's fabulous for you. But at least you're doing something that you love to do. That's what I would suggest. Find out what it is that you like to do. But if you're sitting there watching videos all day of sisters twerking their behind, which is that on a cultural level in Africa, in many countries there, that's a cultural thing. And as far as their behind, I'm a man. Behinds are beautiful. But they always take something that we have of ours and turn it around like it's something bad that we have to be ashamed about. But in the midnight hour, they're knocking our sisters' doors and ringing their phones. You see what I mean? You're much more than a plaything. And the things of you that are beautiful, that the world exploits, you have to understand you need to save that for the person who really loves you, who's going to commit to you. Passing yourself around doesn't get you anywhere. I know people who are grown, who are 50 and past over 50 years old, and they're opportunistic. When I had the conversation with my dear friend who is relocated out here, she's back in Florida right now. You know, there's some women out here who are cutthroat, who are relentless. For what? You can't feel good doing it that way. And I had an opportunity one evening to not spend time with that particular individual because it was a group of people. But in that group, she stood out because every move that she made was something opportunistic or something suggestive sexually. And it was annoying to be around her. You know, and I gotta call it like I see it. You know, that's disgusting. And people will never give you respect when you come up that way. Even if you get what you think it is that you're going to get. Sweet Berry, welcome on in. Sweet D, the Malt Network, Landon Price. I'm running my mouth over here. Like I said earlier, we did this show and with the same banner, but this is really the part 2. And I had to abandon it because I had somebody that came here. So, you know, I'm going to continue it. Let's hope the power stays on. There's a little storm coming. It always knocks off, but by the time it gets here, I'll probably be done, you know? And for those who didn't see the show that we did earlier, I was speaking about a young lady I met that I admired her so much for how she carried herself, how she is upright morally. You know, I mean, we tell dirty jokes and say funny things, but I'm just saying that for the most part, she has a life zeroed in and focused. This is why I said sacred focus, because it's a very important thing. No matter what you're going through, no matter where you find yourself, you can be up, you can be down, but when you're down, you have no choice but to go up. You can be worn out and down, but you have no choice but to go up effortlessly. See? And that's why on the bottom, I said the role models that young Black women desperately need today. Because if we leave it to where the video vixens are the default influences, what's going to happen to us as a people? And just like Minister Farrakhan said, a nation can rise no higher than its woman, than the state of its woman. So this is why there are other people who control what we see for the most part. In the media, you know who they are. They claim on the outward that, oh no, we don't mean anything by this, but this is what they're doing. So they know that to be true, that if they can degrade the woman, they kill us off as a nation. And if we sit up here and roll along with it out of lust, you know, I mean, you get a jump start with a car, right? You on the side of the road, your battery's dead. And then you come by, you have another car that comes by and says, hey, listen, I'll give you a boost. You know, crazy, out of control lust, but that's all you're thinking about is bad, right? But when you're with the person you're with and you're looking at them, you're not thinking about, wow, you know, I'm so turned on because of what you said about the stock market. It's okay to, I hate to say lust, but within the proper context, what's wrong with that when it's proper and you're committed? And we got a lot of that in us, but we got to save it. We got to rewire that. You see a beautiful woman, a sister who's about doing something, and you say, man, she's really attractive. Listen, you know what she got. You see the shape she has. So disconnect that for a second and get into her mind. We got this later on, but let me get into her mind. And just like it was told to me so beautifully the other day by my dear sister Customato, that's a man's name, but it's a woman. Mike Tyson's trainer, so I call her that because she's always giving me nuggets of truth to bite on. And I wake up every morning after meditating on those things that it makes me so much better. The bottom line is the way it's set up as a brother, and I'm saying this, and we're going to get back into the flow, these 10 different points that I want to bring up, that you don't go after the backside and all in between. You go after the head. You get into her mind. You find out what her dreams and aspirations are. You find out how you can align with her if you're attracted. You're attracted to her. There's nothing wrong with that. But pull back a little bit. You don't go to a 5-course meal in an expensive restaurant and go eat the dessert first. And that's the problem with us. We go jump in, we go eat the dessert, and they give up the dessert, and we find out that we didn't even want the meal in the first place. Now you got a wasted meal, and you got a memory that you regret having now because you went there. Take your time. Get the head. I'm talking about the mind, y'all. I'm not talking about the head job. I'm talking about the mind. Get to vibe with each other. Get turned on to her intellectually, mentally. Because I've met women that the mind was beyond sex. And we didn't talk about sex. We explored each other's minds. What kind of woman are you getting when you just look at the backside, look at the lips, and look at the shape, the breasts hanging out? That's all good. That's the dessert. Take your time and eat the meal. And then after you get the head, you go for the heart. It has to flow. And after all of that is in check, you still restrain yourself because you know the more you hold back, the sweeter it is. That you know that you can flow on so many different levels. And I'll tell you, as a man, I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to tell you what I know. The worst feeling in the world is you jump into bed with some woman. And it might have felt good. Might have felt good physically. Now you're laying there next to her. And you don't have a damn thing to talk about. Now, I'm not saying you're going to want to sit there and have a 5-hour conversation or whatever have you, but you realize now the stress, the tensions are released now. What is left? Diane, welcome on in. Welcome on in. I'm glad to see you. Aaron, let me see here. Let me see. Massive L for using AI pictures, grow a spine, and pay artists for their work. Well, you know what? Grow a spine? Well, you need to donate some money or just deal with whatever. You came here. I didn't ask you to come here. So we can play that game. I'm not going to be distracted by no fool, but you want to come on in there. Yes, they are AI pictures. It saves me a lot of time. And look at that. AI has captured some of the beauty of us, and you probably hate it because you go home to something that looks like a monstrosity that doesn't have the shelf life of a beautiful black woman. Flat as a pancake. She can travel for cheap because her backside is so flat, you can lick a stamp and throw in the mailbox and she can travel anywhere in the world. So get out of here. Anyway, we're going to get rid of you. Right? Don't get me started on the comedic mode. Okay, ban user and delete the comments. Bye-bye. Anyway, Sweet D, welcome on in. The Malt Network. Anyway, let me get on back. Some people don't like to see us talk on a positive level. If we were calling each other bitches and hoes and deadbeats, they sit back and love it. Oh, hey, honey, look at this. I just love it. They just go at each other. We're making our job easier for each other. But when you're trying to come up out the hole that they put us in, they don't like that. They surface out of nowhere. And they don't want to see a brother talk righteously about the woman. That means they didn't finish their job because that's their job. They're put here to do that. You got to understand that. So when you reject their filthy entertainment, I mean, I'm a man, it's eye-catching. You see something, oh my God, whoa. But you know what it is because you have that control. See, some brothers are out here driving around in life, and I say driving around because I say like a car that has no brakes. So you can speed all you want, but when it comes time for you to slow down, you crash into something. You got to be able to have some restraint as a brother. You see a woman's beauty, it hits you. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. But like I said, the worst thing is to sit there and have nothing to talk about. The most beautiful thing is when you know what's in her mind and she knows what's in your mind and she knows what's in your heart and she loves you for your mind and your heart and the feeling is mutual. And you're laying there basking in the afterglow of your mutual, beautiful orgasms in a committed relationship, and you can talk about what you want to achieve together as a unit together. That's the sweetest part. People think all the other festivities before then. No. And she feels good because she knows that she gave herself to you and made a proper, righteous choice. And you gave yourself to her and committed to her to secure her and protect her. And that makes her feel so much better. And you get even more loving, not just on the physical level, but a mental and spiritual and emotional level. But they don't want you to unlock that. That's why a lot of us are walking around here so frustrated because we're getting a little bit of it, but we're not getting the whole meal. The whole meal is so good. As a man and you look at your woman and I'm not saying lust, but you just look at how beautiful physically she is, but you know what she's standing for and what she's about and the kind of heart she has. And as we get older, maybe our beauty changes. I don't have the muscles that I used to when I was 42 years ago. I'm still strong. But when that fades, the heart and the mind, and they know what you stand for, that never dies. And just like I was telling a friend of mine, you could be 85, 90 years old, 90, 95 years old. If you live that long, and if the both of you live that long, and it's even more orgasmic, and I'm not talking on a sexual level, when you lay in the bed next to your 95-year-old wife who don't look the way she did, like the picture up on the mantle and on the wall, and you say, and she says, oh, I used to be so beautiful. And he turns and he says, baby, you are still beautiful to me. He sees that woman that's in the picture. And even though your hair might be gray, if you still have it, and there are more wrinkles and more this, there's still a beauty that comes out of you because of your heart and because of your mind. And he knows what you stand for. And that's vice versa. You see what I mean? So you ain't got to worry about, as a man, I got to get these shots. I got to get this Viagra. I got to get these pellets. And I got, what is it? Gainsworth, this machine that you put on your penis. You worried about something that's going to go. Come on now. You're going to maintain this for the rest of your life? How can you when your body's going to go? I don't know too many people who died, men who died, when you look at the coffin, there's an erection poking up through the daggone pants. We stay on that too much. You got to be able to let it go, but you can't let it go when you don't have anything else in your head to offer. If that's all you are is a stud, if that's all you are is something physical, and you see yourself that way, you're cutting your life short. You're not even enjoying life all the way. The transitions start long before the thing they call death, which is the final transition into the next level. But there are transitions that happen in this life. I mean, we were all kids at one time, and maybe probably like to watch cartoons and stuff. But you see a cartoon, and you look at it, I used to watch those cartoons. I know a dude who's like about 60 years old. I'm not knocking him, but he's watching cartoons that were out from the 60s and 70s, and homeboy is cracking up. And I'm like, yo, is he really like that? And he sees the same ones all the time. Oh, man. I'm like, yo, and there's other deficiencies in his life. I said, yo, I'm not going to try to figure that one out. He ain't interested in no woman. He's not trying to do better for himself. Bare minimum, but them cartoons got him going. You know what I mean? So like I said, there's different types of transitions before this thing called death. And we need to be able to let go of certain things and trying to push ourselves up as this, Superman lover. And we go into the club at 50 and 60 years old, with the chains and the buttons down and everything, and trying to go get with the young girls. Now, in the African culture, age doesn't matter as much from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing. So you might have a man who's 72 years old, 75 years old, and with a woman who's in her 20s or 30s, right? I don't understand it all the way coming from Western culture, but I understand it more because he's going to secure her. He's going to take care of her. Now, some of these guys have multiple wives. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different topic, but it's not about sex and all of these girls. You can't take on anybody unless you can take care of them, right? So I'm way off topic, freestyling and whatnot, but yeah, I'm just so sick and tired of people that just don't get it. I'm comfortable in my skin right now. I looked at my full-length mirror just so long. I said, oh my God, am I ever going to look back near the way I used to? But it really doesn't bother me because this whole body's going to leave. My little wee-wee is going to be in the ground, going back, bugs eating it up. That's not me. You take off your shirt, you take off your dress, you take off whatever. That's your favorite shirt, your favorite dress, but maybe 10, 15 years from now, you won't be seeing it because you got rid of it. You gave it away. You transitioned from that. Do you still have the clothes that you had when you were 7 and 8 years old in your closet? You can't fit into them. You see? Oh, and I'm not against that, the Malt Network. No, I'm not. What I'm against is a Western mentality template put over, the polygamy. You understand? I'm learning more about that, so I can't knock anybody for that. Because the first thing we think about in the Western world is sex. Yeah, man, I hear you can come to, you know how many times people told me that? I ain't gonna name no names. And man, you come to Ghana, man, you can have 5 wives. Well, hell, brother, you can't take care of the one you have. You see what I mean? So I'm not going to let the Western rigid, even Christian mentality. I'm not knocking Christ or Christianity or whatever have you, but it's a big world out here. So you're going to knock somebody who is a peasant in China who never heard of, the Bible and preaching and stuff. He's going to go to hell. What about things that have been around long before? And I'm not knocking Christianity is connected to us. I see that. But this system has turned things around against our own natural instincts. And I tell you, I don't think God will be mad. Just like Minister Farrakhan said years ago, because I used to have all the Farrakhan tapes, the VHS tapes, and that's all I played. People driving by here, man, who's that guy? Every time 12 midnight, 3 in the morning, this dude's rocking Farrakhan. Yeah, people will tell you that know me, right? But anyway, he said in a time of war, if our population is reduced, if they come after us and just outright snuff our men away, there's going to come a time where we're going to have to bring our numbers up. And that's strategic. That's war. That's keeping us here. No, we're not going to be extinct. No way. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, if you want to do it where it's artificial, whatever have you, bring them numbers up. And that's why they want to attack us here in the motherland so hard. Putting the fertilizer there. Whatever. I keep forgetting the name, but you know the thing I always talk about that they use in Texas and Florida and California more, and they found it to make frogs in an experiment, turn male frogs into female frogs that are bearing eggs. That's a fact. That's a fact. And when I go down into the markets and they have fertilizer, everybody's not a farmer, but we have such land that a lot of folks plant things on their property. And they have this stuff in all of those fertilizers. So they're attacking us over here in the motherland this way because we're so fertile over here. And I love it. It's natural. I love it. I see the vibration of the women. They're not running around here hot in the pants, just jumping on anybody. But I see how fertile they are, how life-giving they are, how warm they are. And the brothers are strong, and the brothers are under attack too. They're trying to make them effeminate. They should have turned that around, and they're scared how big this place is. It was just sent to me on Instagram. And I saw something like that before, but they purposely made the map of Africa, which that's a name from a white man. We understand that, but I'm just saying it because we all know that. They purposely made it small that you can fit America, fit UK, fit damn near China, fit all of this inside. It's huge. And we're full here. And we're reproducing. And there's land and it's fertile and there's resources. So they don't want us to have what we have. And I want to say something else, and I'm going to say it in a coded way. In a coded way, because there's more things that are going on than many of us realize. And I'm not some conspiracy theorist. I look at things and I ponder them deeply. And I want to get on the subject. I have a lot to say. My brain starts jumping. I get pissed at what is so obvious that it takes some folks 10 or 15 years to figure certain things out. But while you're saying that, they won't even consider you because it doesn't fall in alignment with what the Western media says, right? There's certain things we had to wear a mask 4 years ago. I ain't go for it. Oh, but it's all coming out now, right? So I stick to my guns. I'm not saying I'm always right, but if I see something or a piece of something, I know it's connected to something else, and I'm going to question it. But social media can be good if you're going with your filters. That's where you need to wear your mask, your mental mask, to not let everything permeate into your mind. You understand? But right now, again, I'll talk about Memorandum 46. I'm going to have to, let me pull it up and drop it inside so it stays forever on this broadcast. Let me find it. Let me go to my site because it was removed one time, It was crazy. Anyway, let me go here. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay, here it is. We'll always talk about this. You read this, and this is why they scrub it from the internet as much as they can. There's only maybe 2 other sites that may have this full document. Mine is one. The Final Call website has it, and there's one other site that I found that has it, but they do not want this out there. This was intercepted in the late 70s, and this is what they're on. They knew from way back then. See, we popping our fingers and dancing, and that. Look, we can be festive. We're not supposed to be depressed and run around because of what they do. We're supposed to be up, keep our mentality up. What I'm saying, we're just drunk with it. With escapism and don't want to face reality. You got to earn your time of peace and partying and having a good time. I'm not going to celebrate and I didn't put the work in. Even the Creator made it this way. Even in sexuality, you got to earn your orgasm. You got to grind and move and do whatever to earn that feeling. It gets better and better as you go along. So that should be impetus to make you continue. You don't just sit there and let's hold hands. You're not going to get it that way. You see what I mean? But look at Memorandum 46. And I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just an intercepted government document that wasn't supposed to go public. It's the modern day Willie Lynch letter. And they want to keep Black Americans from the West from joining on with those in the motherland. Take your time later on to read it. But they're going to go to great lengths. In social media, one of the benefits for the oppressor to put social media out there, it's mind control. Social media is mind control. I'm still going to get on back on topic, but I'm going to roll now. And it had good benefits to it. But we all get down with this thing, and we got to understand how lethal it is. Because if they keep saying things over and over, and just like it was shared with me just a little while ago, that there was a CIA experiment where they had 18 people in a room, and maybe you saw this particular clip, 18 people in a room, and 17 of them were CIA agents, but the 18th person didn't realize that. So they passed around a picture to everybody. They started out with the first CIA agent, and the last person to see this picture was the person who didn't know that they were surrounded by CIA agents, right? And the picture was a picture of a triangle. And you can hear the response because everybody was in the room. What do you see here? Oh, a square. And that 18th person was saying, oh, that's a triangle. But everybody said it was a square. So by the time it came around to the person who was pulled off the street, who wasn't a CIA agent, they bowed down. What do you see? Oh, I see a square. And it was clearly a triangle. So when you have these so-called celebrities, so-called stars that are manufactured, that are put out there over and over and over, telling you their beliefs and going along with certain things, we start to question what we say, no, it can't be true what they're saying. And it's not, lots of times, depending on what they're speaking about. And we go along with it because we keep hearing it over and over and over and over. Social media was put there and placed there by these governments to take over your mind over time and make you easier to control. So when you're an independent thinker, they don't like you. They keep your stuff from going out there. Many people out there shut your stuff down. There are many ways to attack. Social media or YouTube is not the only sword I have. You understand? So you got to be shrewd, but you got to have that stick-to-itiveness and get up and go and just keep coming, keep coming. You might knock me down in the 5th round. I'm going to get you in the 6th. Don't think about the knocks that you took in this life, because a lot of us do that. When we talk about sacred focus, these women here, yes, it's AI. I have to know how to make the prompts to make it come out the way I want, though. You ain't blowing me up. I'm an artist. I can draw these same pictures. But I'm not going to take a whole week to get this thing, and I'm doing shows every day. Come on now. But they hate to see your stuff looking good. I do all my graphics. I do all my AI prompts. I do my logo up there in the corner. That's been out there for a long time, years. I don't even have to put my name. I can put the logo over there, Lancescurv. So your branding, no matter how much they snatch you off of a platform or smear you, it's the branding. I know about that. You know what you're going to get when you come around me. It may be a little funny sometimes or ultra serious, but that's what it is. Day in and day. He's 62 years old. He's still doing this damn thing. Oh no, we can't. I never stop throwing punches. Even if I'm dreaming I'm in a fight, I'll wake up swinging sometime. When I'm home, I'm an attack dog. I'm in the street, I try to avoid things. You cross over that wall, I'm coming to get you. It's a shock, and I'm going to get shocked and not run. No, I'm scaring you. You on my land. You understand? That's my mentality wherever I go. When they try to take over your mind or take over the mind of one of ours, they start their little brainwashing techniques. And I see it manifesting in front of me, and I go in there and change it around. A lot of folks don't like me, and I love the fact, because if you are liked by everybody, you're doing something wrong in this world. Trust and believe. But on that tip, and we'll get on into the show, but I just want to finish this up. It's used to influence so many people to stay against each other. See, Black folks, we're so divided. Yes, we know that. And a lot of us are just not going to make it. And I'm trying to say something without saying something, right? And I'm not saying it now for a reason, but I will say it soon. You have different ways of thinking of yourself as a person who's melanated. We have a big issue with where we came from. There are arguments and there are factions and there are groups that are arguing with each other. Well, I'm from America and I was always here. We're not African. We're FBA. We don't deal with them Africans. Are you from the Caribbean? You don't deserve reparations. That's by design. I even said too much, so you know where I'm going with this. Now, for what I'm seeing, and I know this, it clicked on me today, that there's so much going on over here in the motherland. And they're trying to smear the image of moving over here, which is not for everybody. You may not want to. You may have a special needs child. You might have an elderly mother that needs care. And they're all set up with the doctors and different things. You don't want to move her away, and that might be too much of a shock. You may not have the money. You may be content where you are. You might be at a certain age. You're like, I don't want to move at this age and attack a whole new culture and whatever. I'm nuts like that. But they want to make it seem like it's something impossible and it's nothing but scammers. And don't come here and buy land because it's scammers here and they're going to get you. If you do everything proper and legal and take your time and don't get caught up in the emotionalism, you will do well. Nobody wants to talk to me here. Been here almost 5 years. No problem. No problem. Well, damn, Lance is over there. He ain't had no problem. Nobody scammed him because he did everything right. See? A lot of folks come over here with all this emotionalism, and there are people here to scam you. And they're here to tell you where not to go. If you do your due diligence and you come here, because YouTube, social media, they will favor those who speak bad about Ghana and other places here. And yes, there are scammers here. Yes, the economy is tough for those who are here. The common man. There are a lot of billionaires and millionaires too, but we know how that goes. But if you come and sink your roots, and you don't have to. I'm not trying to shame nobody. I'm not trying to convince nobody. I'm not trying to tell, well, I can hook you up and you give me some money. I'm not looking to get no money from nobody. I'm just an example, right? I'm still American. I'm also Ghanaian legally, right? Umar Johnson ain't the only one who got the Ghanaian citizenship, right? But all I'm saying is that there's a bigger movement behind now. Because more and more people are coming. There are people coming of status and stature, and they don't want the avalanche of us to have a connection here. This is the only thing I'll say. And I'm not even scheduled to talk about this right now, but that's how I'm going to do it all the time. Have a connection. Have a connection. Only a fool would not have a connection with their motherland. And if you think that this is not your motherland, it would be a good idea to deal direct. Because here you are now. I'm not saying anybody in this chat room. That's how I'm speaking. Here you are now, buying African prints and African outfits that were made in China. Yeah. I went to, oh God, what was it? in South Carolina a couple years ago, and they had the Geechee thing there, right? And they had somebody selling African clothes. It was a pretty beautiful African sister. I forgot what country in Africa she came from, but she was selling these clothes, right? And who was behind it all? The clothes were made in China, and it was a white man who was behind the little store. It was a pretty big store too. So he's making money, but he's using her. Because she said, oh yes, that's my boyfriend. Oh yeah, he's hitting you and he's using you too. So it can keep it authentic. And a lot of businesses out here, black folks all up in them businesses, but you see who's in that little office tucked in the back. Doesn't look like that. So why can't we do business over here like the Lebanese and the Turkish folks and the Chinese and white folks from America and white folks from the UK, and them same white folks from America come and tell you, oh, ain't nothing over there. It's impoverished or whatever. This road over here, that's a few, maybe there's only one house next door, but there's maybe like 3 areas, little plots where I would say 3 houses down, even though it's not 3 houses there. I just walk there, boop, I get one of the vans that they call a chocho, and I'm gone. I'm trying to find a reason to get a car. It's like, I don't get no car up here, and it's cheap too. I am going to get one eventually. But when I go on that road and I see all the other vehicles coming from miles down, they have to come through that road, miles down over the horizon. I'm like, wait a second. Lexus? BMW? What? Lamborghini? Not all of them now. You know, we got a lot of regular cars up here. But when I stand out there for at least 10 minutes, I'm going to see at least 25 ultra luxury cars, the best kept secret. And when you go way up in the mountains beyond where I am, you got houses that are like castles sitting up on top of the mountain. People got maids' quarters there with a hired help, living in a bigger house than most people in America who are middle income, middle class, so-called, even lower upper class. The hired help is living more luxuriously than the people in America. But you say, I ain't got nothing. No. Look, if I can live better and do better and have peace of mind and sleep deep and wake up when I want to, why not? So there's a lot of propaganda pushed through social media, and that's the ultimate tool for many reasons, not just black folks in America, but the whole narrative. That's why China closes off its social media and keeps it just to China. They don't want stuff from all over the world leaking on their mind. Now they're controlling people over there too, but they know how filthy things are. Because things just pop up. I'm getting ready for the show now, and I went on YouTube to do some things on the show, even though I use a different program. But I'm on Rumble and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff. So each one has its individual settings. So when I went into YouTube to make everything tagged right and everything, oh yeah, they got their hands in everything. Oh yes, they do, sweetie, you're right. When I went there and I came back to the main page, how come there's like 3 twerking videos? Girls twerking. I said, oh my God, I'm not a homo. I'm not mad at it, but what type of mind you trying to pull me in? You got to understand that it's warfare and it's there ain't nothing wrong with looking. No, I know that, but what are you supposed to be doing right now? Because you surf that stuff, the more you look, the more they're going to show it to you. The more they're going to show it to you. And you're going to sit there scrolling for 2 and 3 hours and sharing stuff with your buddies all day, rendering you ineffective for the war that's going on now. You're looking at dessert. I'm not relegating my sisters that way, but they're looking at it that way. What about the work to earn a dessert? Because you know what? When you work and you earn something, it's sweeter when you get it. Fellas don't understand that. These guys, I know some of them coming out of lockdown or in there about to get out when I worked with the incarcerated. Yeah, man, you know, I got to find me a honey, man. You know, a girl with a nice place, you know, she got a nice job. Why don't you go get a nice place and a nice job? Now, I know it's hard when you come out with a long record, more or less. But look how we've been conditioned. Hey, Ma, calling your woman Ma or potential woman Ma? Is she your mother? You see how? Man, we go, Man, she got a good crib. Are you a baby? Talk about crib. All you want is the good stuff. You want to eat, you want to watch the cable TV, you want to have her adornments at night, and you didn't earn it? But how about this? How about, and I know things are tough and two people can do it. Couples can work together and do. I understand that. But how about you be the man and you have your woman and you're supporting her? Of course, she's going to want to do something and have her own. I'm not against that. I'm not saying the chauvinistic way, y'all. But from your side as a man, you know that if she fell off and couldn't do anything, you can take care of her. You putting the food in the refrigerator and on the table. Not to say I'm taking care of you and I'm ruling you and I'm your king ruling you. Yeah, you're her king, but in a righteous way. And you know that you're taking care of her because you're committed to her. And then when the loving goes down, oh, you earned it. She wants to give it to you. Right? It's better that way. But you can't enjoy it when you're a boy. See, getting up to go to work in the morning, you rubbing the crust out your eye because you was on PlayStation all night. Probably watching porn too. And you're using her as a glorified friction provider, and she don't want to go. Might be her time of the month, and her stomach is hurting, but she got to go to work. So this is why I say, listen, sacred focus. And you brothers who are about nothing at all, stop looking at these sisters who are about something and using them as a resource. And while you with them as a resource, you're looking for more. So you don't have, so don't even think about coming to Ghana and having 5 wives. You don't even deserve one by the way you're wired. You understand? But men don't see that. And we do have some foolish women out here who think they have to give sex to get love because of the voids that are in their heart, but the things that happened to them when they were younger. So we got a lot of rewiring to do. So before we jump into stuff, we need to take ourselves to the repair shop. That check engine light comes on, or you hear a weird noise, or your car stalls. Yeah, well, I got to check. I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of the road. Let me go ahead and take it to the shop. Well, we need to take ourselves to the shop. If you have somebody you can talk to, or you seek professional help, also with meditating and being brutally honest with yourself. Brutally honest with yourself. But a lot of us are in denial. We see a little bit and we let a little in and think we did something. No, this is a lifelong journey. I can't believe I'm the chronological age I am, and I know I am, but this is a lifelong journey because I don't feel no different. I've learned a lot and I do different, but just breathing and eating food, and I still like to eat certain things, my favorites, whatever, that's never going to stop. That's right, Sweet D. They know how to keep, they've studied us. Don't think they have not studied us and know us well. And they manufacture tragic events and they let it go fly all over social media, and we get caught up in the emotionalism, not realizing what they're doing on the chessboard that they don't want us to see. So whenever anything big happens that's not good, it has us, they kill a young kid, or another situation happens, I'm looking at the fine print, and I'm also looking at the media in other countries. I look at what is it, RT.com, the Russian website there. Oh, they give a whole different take on the news. I look at stuff all through the Middle East, which is Africa, things that are here, and their reflections of it. It's going to be a different take. Just like you have 2 parents that had 10 kids, say 5 are girls and 5 are boys. They're going to have similarities in how they look. Some are going to really look the same. One may be lighter and one may be darker, and they look the same in their features. Some may look completely different, but you can still tell that it's a brother or a sister. So the media across the globe is not going to have the same take. They're going to tell it like it is because they're not controlled. So if you just watch the one thing, you're being fed something that's engineered to keep you thinking a certain way. You see what I mean? Because people want to remain in their bubble. I got personal friends of mine that and they're not my tight inner circle, but I grew up with them, whatever have you. They're a little distant now because they want to see the world a certain way. And I'm not preaching to them. I'll just send something to them. What do you think about this? Something factual. and they mad. Then they go send me some big booty twerking. I'm like, okay, that's nice and everything, but what about that point, man? The day that you getting put in the ground, if you get put in the ground, unless you want to get whatchamacallit, burned, right? Ashes, there's gonna be a chick at your funeral that's gonna be drop dead gorgeous. Way younger than you, probably. You can't keep thinking about that, man. You know, one of the greatest feelings on that, now, I'm gonna shut up after this on that point. I'm gonna come back later on too with something else. But one of the greatest feelings in the world is when you see a woman, a virtuous woman who has this integrity, who is upstanding. And even if you was a little fast something back in the day and you woke up and you become this, I can accept that. I'm not going to hold you down. Well, 20 years ago, you was all over the town. No. Second chances, we all have a chance to evolve because we are put in a crooked container anyway in this world, and especially in America, right? But one of the greatest feelings as a man is when you have a woman. She's your woman, of course, right? But when you have another woman and another one, listen to me now, I'm not talking about no 5 wives, but they respect what you stand for so much. And they admire you, they respect you to the highest honor because they see what's inside of you and what you're about. Sometimes I go a little off too much on the adult tip on some of these shows. We're talking stuff, but the thing is, for me, you can see past that because I've had lots of experiences in this life and I'm going to talk about them. And sometimes I'm going to talk about them in a raw way, which you can understand. But if I talk to you one-on-one, I'm not going to come at you that way because we speak different languages. There are people who listen to me who have college degrees stacked to the roof. At this point, I'm not going to try to keep them. I'll ask them a question because you did the work already. I have some people who are on the street corner doing all kind of dirt. Yeah, man, he used to be a bus driver out here, man. That nigga, man, cool, man. Listen to what he's saying. You got to break it down in different languages. Everybody's not gonna absorb it the same way. I'm talking straight normal right now. If you see me on somebody's TV show, I'm not going to try to change who I am, but I'm going to speak in a way that you understand it clearly, right? I'm not going to speak like I'm in the street, because when I'm in the street, when I was in the streets doing, when I say in the streets, I wasn't doing nothing illegal. I might have been on a bus stop layover, just passing through, and there are a bunch of fellows around there. I'm not going to speak in some anal retentive way. To show that I'm not part of this element, I'm going to let you know that I am not going to turn around and look at that lady's butt is disrespectful. So and so and no. If I said that, they won't receive me on the other things. What about this thing called a common denominator? Even if it's something manufactured to get the point across. If I'm hanging out with you and your common denominator is 4 and mine is 5, we can't meet on that level. If you 4, you're going to have to multiply yourself by 5 to become 20. And I'm going to have to multiply myself by 4 to become 20. And now that you're 20 and I'm 20, we can talk business now. One day I was out there on the bus stop. I'm not, people, they in the street all over Orlando, they still know me. They still, communicate with me through Facebook or calling me. Hey man, so-and-so, so-and-so died, right? Or so-and-so had a baby, right? Whatever. I'm still there. So the dudes on the corner, I knew them from the jail. And we talking. Now they joking. They drinking some 40 ounce and puffing on some weed. But I'm not doing that. But we're talking. But there's something they were speaking about earlier. I want to put my point in there that may help to elevate them. And as I'm beginning to talk about that, and I've said this before, yo, Scurv, man, look at that girl over there, man. She got a nice ass. I said, damn, for real, she got a nice, juicy one, boy. By the way, let's just keep, and I bring it right on back. I'm not going to make an issue and make them feel some kind of way that I'm trying to be superior to them or whatever have you. Yeah, okay, you got that one. I'll agree with you. Okay, by the way, let's talk something righteous. I may lay some words in what I'm saying when I'm talking to them. I know how to talk to different people, right? Let me tell you about this shit here, man. This effed up, man. But let me tell you something, man. You're talking like that? Well, look who I'm talking to. I'm never going to embarrass you. I'm going to rise to your level. You understand? And we got to get over that hierarchy. I can't talk to him because he's over there in front of the liquor store. I walk everywhere. I go everywhere. I can talk to anybody. That's what makes me dangerous. And I'm going to tell what it is on my mind, and I'm going to make sure you know it. And if you don't understand me, I'm going to write it. If you don't understand it, I'm going to draw it. Triple threat, right? That's why I'm dangerous. I know more than what people know. They don't want me seen out there. And that's why people are scared. Oh, he's bad for business. I can't rip people off if he comes around me, because I'm going to blow you up. But anyway, let's get on with these 10 points. Somebody coming in here, like, what is he talking about? He's advertising one thing, but he's talking about something else. Okay. I said I wanted to highlight the attributes of a good, forward-thinking young Black woman, right? These are the traits that uplift our communities, inspire generations, and reflect the true essence of womanhood in an age that's trying to distort it beyond recognition. Oh, you got that right. Number one, discipline over desire. She prioritizes long-term success over instant gratification, whether it's finances, relationships, or lifestyle. She resists the temporary thrills that derail so many others. Her budget may not be huge, but her discipline makes her wealthy in purpose and peace. Young lady might have some girlfriends in the neighborhood, and she's hanging out with them by default. And she's working at McDonald's. She has no problem with that. And the other girls don't work nowhere. But she notices that they come home 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they sleep late, but they always got money. And so she's around them, and after a while, they're like, yo, girl, when you gonna get this money? I said, I make money. I work at McDonald's. But girl, you ain't gonna make no money there. You need to come on and get down with what we do. You know, we meet these guys online, and, you know, we hook up with them and whatever. Now, if she feels bad because of that, or feels less because she hasn't developed the long term, right? Prioritizing long-term success over instant gratification, because they're not going to tell you of the other friends that got pregnant before their time, caught diseases, got up with a crazy stalker that might have killed one of them. You see what I mean? Hold your lane. Life is long. Look, my best days are ahead of me. The age that I am, and I'm saying that because that's what works. You always have to be looking forward. So if it's 2 years, 20 years, 50 more years that I got, I'm going to enjoy it and pursue something, because that's how we're made. But to sit there and look for the instant gratification, illegal stuff, whatever, and so, well, you know, America was built on illegal activity. We know that, but we know those devils how they are. You want to live in balance. Number two, purpose-driven living. Every step she takes is part of a bigger plan. She doesn't wing it through life or wait to clean up messes after the fact. She maps out her goals, plans for her future children, and makes sure every action today builds a better tomorrow. When I'm in this house, I got things in the studio that I have to do. I've been putting certain things off for the last 3 days. Not that I'm lazy, but other more important things came up. But I always have something ahead of me. Never winging it. Everything that I do now benefits me in the future. The near future and the long-term future. I don't waste any time that way. No, I don't. And there are women out here who you may see them now. They may not be flashy and seen and out there, but why is that the goal? Too many of us focus on this thing to be seen. Likes and shares and subscribers. And I'm doing that, but I'm not doing it for that. Whatever comes, comes. The channel that they took down that had 117,000, which was false. I found that it was more like 800,000 and change, 800,065. 865,000 or something like that. These two guys got on and said, man, I wish they screenshotted it. But I was stuck there for like 4 or 5 years. I didn't care. That didn't stop me, because I'm not doing it for that. I have my likes in life. I have my subscribers in life. Just like I like other people and their message and what they're about, and I subscribe to it. That's the real internet. That's the real connection, face to face. And even if you live, look, I'm face to facing with you all, not right now on this particular show, but you've seen my face, but you felt my essence through the electronic means of social media. And they don't want you to do it that way. They're going to throw all this stuff in like an obstacle to distract you. No. But you do have to know how to talk, because as soon as you say something directly that they don't like, they're going to come get you. Number 3, self-respect and dignity. She doesn't need to show skin to prove her worth. Her mind, her energy, and her spirit speak louder than any superficial image ever could. She embodies femininity and pride without compromise. I love a woman who enjoys being feminine. Yes, if she has responsibilities, she has to work a lot, and she doesn't have time. I don't mean, oh, I'm going to put on makeup and I'm going to wear this dress and but who you are as a woman. It's not just the men that they're trying to feminize. They're trying to masculinize our sisters and make them hard and tough and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? You can't have it. It ain't going to work. Not for us. We need to balance out our energies, and we need real women, not by European standards now. We're not talking that. No way. Hold on one second, y'all. Folks love sending me text messages, and they think that my WhatsApp is on the computer, and they get it through. Ooh, I'm making noise on the show. But they'll never come on it. They'll never speak anything worthwhile. They'll always just send you junk and want to distract you. There's certain ones who are like that. Wasting their time. They get blocked at night individually, right? Oh, I didn't get it. I don't know what happened, man. I hit the button by mistake. Well, I was up till 4 o'clock sending you these things. What were you sending me? I don't want to see white women. And I hope they hear it too. That's the way it is. Let me see here. Number 4, entrepreneurial spirit. She starts businesses not for clout, but for impact. Her ventures are rooted in her values and serve her community. She understands the purpose of ownership and uses her gifts to create opportunities for others. Isn't that something? See, most of us have to go work for somebody else to get our start. But while you're on that job, think about the possibilities of what you can do on your own away from that job over time. And what you can do from your own side, extracting what they're doing, because you can fill a need in your community, large or small. Why not have multiple streams of income? If it's there, look around you in your neighborhood. What is needed? What void can be filled? And why are other people coming into our neighborhoods, which I would love to say communities, but communities are diminishing, right? What's the guy's name? He's been in the Breakfast Club. It's a light-skinned older man who speaks strongly about finances and knows a lot about history. And he basically said, we don't have community. We don't. And the way he broke it down, we're not self-sufficient. We don't have our own hospitals, our own schools. We don't control the narrative of what goes on there. So we have neighborhoods that are supported by other people. Yeah, there may be a little black business over here and there, but it may be a black business, but is it a black business that's serving the community? Because you got a lot of black businesses that are sucking from the community, and they part of the secret handshake boys and don't give a damn about the black community. It's just an opportunity. Oh, we have a store, we're there, but all you're doing is selling sugary things, making sure folks get diabetes later on and sick. Come on now. What are you doing to uplift? And you can provide a service, yes, but let it be the symbolic. I'm not saying Mr. Rogers' neighborhood is the best neighborhood, but you should be walking through your community and feeling good and feeling proud and feeling a warmth inside your heart that you're part of this. Look, the other day, I had come from downtown. I say downtown, but there is no downtown. There's commerce everywhere when you go into a crowd. And so I had these heavy bags. So I got dropped off up in the village not by the roundabout, but there's a little area where the taxi cabs go. I got dropped off right there. So there's a guy with a little shop. I mean, it can't be no more than 10 feet across, and it's deep. He has storage space in the back. Young guy. I'm going to put him on the camera one day. And I went to him and I said, listen, brother, I want to go back more up the road, down the road, around the corner, because there's more things I want to pick up. But I don't want to carry these heavy bags. He says, no problem, brother. You're my customer. Put them right here. They're safe with me. And I knew they were. So I reached in my pocket to give him some money. He says, you buying something? I said, well, later on when I come back. He says, well, get it later on when I come back, because I know you're not trying to give me money to watch your stuff. You're my customer, man. Right? I was like, wow, I'm part of a community. This is a community. So I felt so good. So I went down and made my purchase on some things, but I couldn't think of how I can repay this man back for his generosity. But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about that. There's a little spot that makes some Ghanaian food, the one little dish that I like. The rest of them I really don't like that much, right? So I realized I didn't have enough money. I spent a lot and I brought only a certain amount. And I had the money at home and I had her make the order. It was time I said, oh my God, let me trek on home and get the money. No. You're coming up here tomorrow or whenever. Give it to me then. I know you. I was like, whoa, what a feeling. You know what I mean? To feel like you're part of that. I'm not going to say I never felt that back in the day in New York City growing up, but that kind of feel is really rare now. You don't see that as much. And we need to have our own stuff to give that feeling to other people, and they'll support it. They'll defend it. You know what I mean? You see somebody's shop getting broken into, you're going to call the authorities, which we know how they do, right? But you're going to take that to heart. Like, no, you can't do that. That man is, or that woman is hard work, and they built that up, and you have a relationship with them. Remember back in the day how you'd go to a supermarket and you had an account with them, and the account wasn't on any computer. No, it was a piece of paper in a ledger in a book that they wrote down your name. And you would take things out of the store and they'd mark it down. And when you got paid, they'd tell you, well, listen, how much $98. And you give them the $98. You can walk in there. So do you want to mess that up? This is why we need more of us in those positions, and especially our sisters. Number 5, global perspective with local roots. Though she travels the world, she never forgets where she came from. Her global experiences enhance her wisdom, but her heart remains grounded in her culture, her people, and her home. And why I'm saying it this way is because I'm speaking about my dear friend who I admire so much, who's at the prime of her life, which I can't really say that because our primes go as we go on. I can't lift as much weights as I used to, but I'm stronger in so many more ways. I'm more of a man in so many more ways. You see what I mean? Global perspectives with local roots. That's the problem with us. We only think local, both man and woman. We just think local. But it's almost a crime when others who want to oppress us, like when they saw me, these small hats sitting in front of me the time I came over, last time was when it was September 16th, 2020. They turned around and looked at me when they heard me talking. They heard my American accent. They're almost looking like, what does he want to go over to Africa for? But you going over there to set up businesses and hide and put a black face on it so you can make money off of us. And you scared them to do the same thing. So for all the people, again, who say they have nothing to do with Africa, well, have a connection for it, at least business-wise. You're in America for all these customers there. And you have stuff out here that you can't get out there, but the Chinese bring it over to you. Why can't we have one of us? Why can't we build a home? And I was speaking to somebody close to me, and she wants to build a home out here, and it won't be really an Airbnb, but it's somewhere small that's hers and her family and her constituents, people, and she's in politics, that they can come there. Like, okay, we're in business together. Y'all got the keys going out there. Ain't that something? You can get you can get out of the airport and take a cab or whatever, or rent a car and go into your home. Why can't we do more of that? Why do we have to go and get the most expensive car? Why don't we take $40,000 or $50,000, right? You get in the car for $100,000, save up for 2 years. Don't get that expensive car and put that money aside and set something up like that. But we have a global network of places to go. Well, you're from the Honduras. Well, you know what? You're building your retirement home now. You're not there yet. Stay at them Keys with somebody who you can trust, right? So we can travel on the cheap and not have to worry about where we're going to go. Of course, you'll pay somebody who lives there, maybe to live there and give them a little room or something and maintain it. You have your little cameras and everything up in there. There's ways around that. We got to think globally. We don't do that. Oh, this is my hood. Well, where are your businesses? The people who come to the Chinese, the Indians, the Koreans, they're paying taxes and they're at the neighborhood community meetings with the government, the politicians that are there while you sleep, rubbing your eyes. Or laying in a bit, damn, girl, that was good, man. Oh, man. No, get up and do business. When I was in Orlando, Florida, I went to so many community meetings where the politicians met with the people who lived there. And in the Paramore area, I'm going to call it out, Paramore, Black neighborhood, historic Black neighborhood that's gentrified now. And years ago, when I used to go with these different politicians and do the video work for them, and on the old channel, if you were with me from way back then, you wouldn't know it now. Different politicians running for office, I'm with them. You all know I used to write for a local newspaper there, the Pine Hills News, and what's the other one? Orlando Times. Was it Orlando Times? Whatever. My articles right up in that bad boy. So I got the 411 on a lot of things I can't even talk about now that would cause problems, you know, corruption and stuff that I knew of. So this is not like a joke for me. This is what I do. You know, so we got to expand our minds. And it was nothing but white folks at those community meetings, 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. They know we ain't getting up to come to them things. And they're carving up the neighborhood and deciding what goes on because they may have bought a property, but they don't show their face. They get one of us to collect the rent. And those of us who are renting, who are just flotsam and jetsam and not doing anything, they get shocked. Yo, how that white man over there, they're tearing that house down, man. That house been over there with so-and-so. You know, my friend's grandmama had that house with, and yeah, you go back with memory, but you have no power there. The real deal is having the power and be able to pass something on, right? So if I got to move positions and if I move over to Africa and get more power, oh, look at the property he built. They're looking to build another one next year. He ain't tell me that. Well, it's been 5 years, man. 10 years go by. Look what he's amassed. Not for just flexing purposes to say, oh, I have this and I have that. Because one day I'm out of here. I'm closer to being out of here than anything else at this age. I have no qualms about that. But what can you do while the tick-tock time goes down, right? Can you make it better for your offspring, better for the people around you? Even if you don't leave it for your offspring, they may be messing up. Give them a lot of chances. You may give it to some kind of charity, whatever, but build something. When you meet your creator, he can say, job well done. Number 6, emotional maturity. He communicates with clarity, listens with intention, and processes emotions without chaos. Her openness and deep conversation is not vulnerability without boundaries. It's strength with discernment, communication, and maturity, right? I can talk about anything in a very mature way. I can talk about anything in a very comical way, right? There's different ways of communicating. You talk to a doctor about your private parts, so it's in a clinical way. It's not anything, damn girl, look at you. No, that's your gynecologist. You see? You talk to your man about your private parts, it's a whole different flavor, right? You talk to your children about what they're going to be going through adolescence, it's a different flavor, but you have to be able to communicate on multiple levels. And some of us are so foolish that we think that everybody has to understand us. No. People think different ways. They communicate different ways. Like I said before, they'll tell you how they communicate. Yo, Scurv, man, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but I can't see it. So maybe I have to put up an infographic so you can see it. Man, I'm not really hearing you. Oh, so I got to speak to you in a different way that hits your brain different. Or I'm not feeling you, or you're a more emotional base, but at least let it be emotional maturity on how you communicate, right? I can go in any church and tell the nastiest, dirty joke from the pulpit in a very respectful way. And your imagination will take you there where I want you to go, and you will be on the floor rolling, cracking up. And if you walk, you say, oh my God, Lance, you told that joke that you told to me last night? Yeah, but we were on the street corner and I told it in a different way. I couldn't go there on the street corner. I can't go there in the church. But them church ladies got exactly what I was saying, and I'm still respectable after that. Art of communication. Number 7, modesty and presentation, power and presence. She doesn't compete for attention, yet she commands respect effortlessly. Her modest dress reflects her inner confidence. She knows who she is, and that certainly shines brighter than any provocative wear. Huh? Because now it's rare when you see a woman decently dressed. Now, some of the older ones will dress decent, and some of them are still hanging out all over the place. But what I'm saying is that modest, your character, let how you carry yourself shine through, and people will say, oh, she's different. You see the guys on the street corner. I used to get up early to drive that bus sometimes, even though I was more of a night driver, right? And you see the guys who've been out there all night long, and they see by the way you're dressed. You're hanging out all over the place. Damn, girl, look at you. Oh, I'd like to hit that. But the one that's walking by, carrying herself upright, ladylike, he does not say that. So even these guys who are in the street and off the chain with how they look at women, they look at you first. Oh, I can't talk to her like that. You understand? That's the way you want to carry yourself. And again, these different points are just something to throw out there to think about for our young sisters out there and some who are a little older. Number 8, mindset over materialism. She isn't enslaved to brand names or the need to flex. Her wealth is internal, found in her values, her peace of mind, and her vision. She invests in knowledge, travel, and growth, not just possessions. When you speak to somebody who's just into the possessions, their conversation is shallow. Oh, I went out the other day and I bought the brand new Samsung so-and-so, and I'm going to get the Samsung the next year when it comes out. And I bought this, and I have the most expensive this. And what kind of conversation is that? It won't last too long. You're going to die and the next phone's going to come out. So what is that saying about you? Tell me something to uplift me. Tell me something that stimulates me. And if you're with a woman as a man and you're with a woman who can't do that, it's not going to last long if you're growing. A lot of good brothers get fooled by the body. There's a lot of bodies out there. You know, I was younger, man. She got the best body I ever saw. And tomorrow I was saying it again with somebody else. It's never going to stop. It's going to come at you like when the baseball players are in spring training in that cage and the machine shoots the balls out. Curveball, knuckleball, fastball. It just keeps coming. It's got to be more than that when you deal with a woman and how a woman presents herself, right? Number 9, forward-thinking family planning. She doesn't fall into the traps of reactive living. She thinks ahead, planning how and when she wants to build her family. Her womb is not a battleground of poor choices, but a sacred space for intentional legacy. I'm going to say that again. That felt good. Her womb is not a battleground of poor choices. Letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry get up in there and leave some DNA, and now you're after the fact having to catch up, getting these soul ties with these people who are all over the place, and them dudes are jumping on something else the next night. And now you in a mess, right? You got to think ahead. I'm going to say this again. And if things have happened, you learn, hopefully, and you have to deal with it. You have to take ownership of it, accountability. But when you have a clean slate, understand that it only takes one sperm to change the course of your life. So that little bit of, just put it in and pull out. You're playing with your future. I'm going to say it again. Her womb is not a battleground of poor choices, but a sacred space for intentional legacy. So even after you dress it up and you get older and your children get older, whatever, it doesn't change the fact that your womb was a battleground of poor choices now that you got to figure out how to straighten up like a Rubik's Cube. So when you could have been getting better and focusing on making a better life for your kids before they even got into this world. And not just with anybody, not just because you got horny. Hell, I don't know how you feel about it, but if it's a temporary bout of heat between your legs, take your fingers and rub that clit. Do whatever you got to do. Get the battery operated boyfriend. You'll fall asleep, get up, and you'll be on your way. That's real. But oh no, this guy done told you he loved you and he's going to be with you. Come on now. And sometimes that happens. 1/1,000,000th of 1%. Or maybe later on you get successful and that little tomcat who you were giving it to when you were a teenager, he wants to come around now, not because of you, but because of what you have. We got to talk hard, y'all. We got to talk it real. Number 10, positive online presence. She uses social media as a tool, not a trap. Her posts promote her businesses, her mindset, and her principles. She refuses to sell her soul for clicks. Her digital footprint reflects her character. You ain't gonna pull up no old posts that have all this wild stuff. And we can change. But so many people, they have to learn the hard way. So many of our sisters have to learn the hard way. But good women like my friend there, and the several in my inner circle, aside from Mrs. Scurv, there are 3 strong female presences. And there's some here now. I'm not dismissing anybody in the chat room, but we basically talk every day. So we need to highlight women like this, not just quietly applaud them in private circles, but elevate them publicly as the standard. Let other women see that I'm geared toward applauding this woman for the good things she's doing, not because she has her ass and her titties hanging out. Hell, you got men now who can take hormones and get titties, get injections and get butt. And half the dudes running up and down the stroll where the hookers are don't even realize that they got a blowjob from a man the night before because they caught up in that lust. That's the way it is, deception, right? In a society that's constantly telling our young black women to dumb it down, dress it up, and chase external validation, my friend and my friends, these young ladies stand in defiance of that madness. They're the blueprint, the counter narrative, and the role model we should be celebrating. Too often, we are shown images of degradation and confusion as the standard of womanhood. And that's for us as black people. And you get the other people doing some stupid stuff too, but they really make us the standard. But we are made to believe that loud is strong and naked is free. But real strength is in silence, and true freedom is in self-control. The young woman I met is not perfect, but she's striving. And in a world of distractions, striving is everything. And I told her yesterday that I was completely impressed by how she lives her life. Not because it's flashy, because it's not, but because it's focused. She's not driven by outside noise, but by inner peace. She doesn't have to scream to be heard because her life speaks it. I want young black girls across the globe to know you don't have to compromise your worth to find your place. You are the place. You carry legacy, beauty, and brilliance within you. And you deserve to build a life that reflects that. You're so much more than what you see out on a low level, low vibrational level on social media. So we want this video, this talk to be a tribute, not just to one incredible woman, but to all the women who are doing the internal work, the quiet work, the generational work. Your existence is needed. Your example is sacred. And your story is far more powerful than any trend could ever be. And we have to treat these women this way. We see you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for reminding us what true womanhood looks like. So stay grounded, stay glorious, and stay you, no matter what a video or social media may say you should be. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. If anybody wants to come on in, I'm going to drop a link, and I'm going to do a few things here. I got more to do today, and I feel like I'm going to come on later on. I'm going to probably run out for a second, and if I'm good, I'll come back and just freestyle something else. But I'll put a topic to it, and just freestyle it. That's the way I feel, King Moves. How are you? I was busy running my mouth and didn't see you. I had another screen up. Michael George, welcome on in all the time. I saw you, Landon Price, and everybody else who came in. I do love you all, and I'm going to be one of them old guys who's always full of fire. They'll be like, I like that old man. He talks it. I've known old men like that. I said, when I get older, I want to be just like that. But in order to be just like that, I just can't talk and observe. Yeah, you got to observe. But I want to live it and see it for myself and put my hands on it and taste it and sniff it and smell it and see it. That way, when you reflect it, there's a conviction, not like somebody, like somebody in school, like a student who's reading somebody else's homework and they don't really know what it is. Well, blah, 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 blah. There's no feeling behind it. Because when you live it, you internalize it, and you don't have to fake. And people can feel the vibration from you, as opposed to somebody who's talking to run their mouth just to be heard, just to take up space for ego reasons. Because you'll know when we have somebody good come on the show, I shut my mouth. To the point where some people say, Lance, you still there? Yeah, I'm still here. I got my symbolic notebook and pencil, and I'm taking notes because what you're saying is making me better. And I bow down to anything that makes me better, makes me ascend and learn, whether it's old or young. If it's somebody half my age and you got some wisdom, guess what? You're my elder in that respect. So there's no power struggle here. There's no ego here with me. Good knowledge is good knowledge because it's there, but it's buried under so many low vibrational pieces of content and distractions. And that's something I don't want. So I'm going to wrap it down. Nobody came in. That's cool. Because I know right now for me it's 5:53, so that means what now? It's 1:53 on the East Coast. So folks are pretty much still at work if they're listening. You know what I mean? Thank you, Sweet D. Thank you, Sweet D. I'm gonna wet my whistle. My throat's a little dry, and I got something to do. Yeah, it's gonna be getting dark soon. I don't know if it's gonna rain or not. I want to get caught out in it, but you know what? It's not gonna hurt me. I don't want to catch that cold again. I felt my throat was a little scratchy this morning. Like, what the heck is happening with me? So, yeah, I'm going to come back. I like doing it like this, and we're just going to flurry out. But again, you'll see the same, for those who are watching this now, you'll see the same thumbnail, the same image on the one I did prior where I spoke earlier to set up this one, but I had to stop it short because I had somebody come by to measure, to do some work, and do some contracting work. So he got here a lot early, and I was like, God, dog, because I was about to rear up, but it worked out good. It worked out good. I put part 2 in that, but not on the banner, so folks will be confused. It's the same thing. And so the clown that came, oh, you need to grow up and do. I do what I want to do. Everybody knows this is AI. I ain't paint this. But see, you know what it is? When they see who I put up here, that is not their faces, they get mad. Like I said, they get mad at that. Thank you, Scrooge Greedy. Thank you so much. We're going to keep on doing it this way. You'll know I'm going to deliver. But like I said, down to the last months and year or two in building this place, and there's still more stuff to do. Sometimes I'll schedule something and, have to change it or change the time and falling asleep. And we got hours difference between here and there. So I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm going to make sure, because there's a lot of things I'm seeing that I'm inspired to speak about, and some things that I see that just piss me off, and we're going to talk about it. You know what I mean? So on that note, let me move it along, and I'll see you in a couple hours, hopefully, right? We'll do it that way. Okay.